What if the biggest thing that's been standing in between you and the life that you've been praying for isn't your talents, the timing, or your resources? What if it's the version of yourself that you've been hiding? Because the truth is, you can't keep shrinking yourself to make other people feel comfortable and expecting your life to expand. Welcome to another episode of the Pretty Aligned Podcast, the space where we shift perspectives, reframe the way we think, and step into alignment with who we're truly meant to be. I'm your host, Octavia Darling. And every week, we'll have real conversations that helps you reframe your mindset, overcome limiting beliefs, and create a life that feels good from the inside out. So grab your coffee, tea, your journal, or just your open mind and get ready to receive. Let's get into it. Here are 3 things that I would do to stop shrinking myself so that I can experience the expansion. The first thing is to get honest about where I'm playing small. You cannot change what you won't acknowledge. Now, this may look like undercharging for your work, not applying for opportunities that you know aligns with you, holding back your gifts because you're afraid of being perceived, or even waiting for permission. Let me tell you, there was once a version of myself who used to play small in all of these areas. I used to heavily undercharge for my work. I used to heavily hold back on all of my talents. I used to heavily only do just enough to get by because I was afraid of what expansion actually felt like. But this is what the problem was. I wanted to grow. I wanted to call in more, but I didn't realize that I was standing in my own way. See, playing small feels safe until you realize that it is the very thing that is keeping you stuck. And don't be mistaken by this feeling of waiting for the right time. That is actually an indication of fear, because fear disguises itself on just holding back or waiting for that feeling before you take that big leap. Remember, take the leap and the net will appear. The second thing that I would do is build confidence through the actionable steps that I take. Remember, confidence is something that you build as you continue to show up. It is not something that you just decide one day, oh, I'm going to be confident. No, it is a continuous form of effort. This may look like posting the content, even though you don't have the best of the best camera, right? Or even though you don't have the top-notch editing skills, post it anyways. This may also look like launching a product before everything is perfect. I can't tell you how many times I've held myself back by waiting for the perfect moment before launching something. And when I tell you, it would frustrate me so much because it never failed. Every time I waited until I felt ready, somebody else went ahead and did it. Somebody else did it when it wasn't perfect. And that was one of the hardest lessons I've had to learn throughout this journey, is doing the thing before it's perfect. When you just go with it, you are separating yourself from the purpose and the intention behind it. This is how I think of it. If I was to launch something before I have the best of the best marketing materials or branded materials for it, that is because I believe in the product or the value of what I'm launching so much that I just know that it's going to bless somebody. And I am holding not just myself back, but I'm holding them back because I'm waiting to make sure it looks good before I present it to them. Confidence is also built through having those uncomfortable conversations. See, we are so accustomed to avoiding discomfort that we don't realize the discomfort and the confrontation is what's necessary in order for you to progress. I used to be so avoidant of having the uncomfortable conversations because I just didn't like the feeling of confrontation overall. I don't like when my heart races really fast because I have to speak up for myself, or the feeling of how someone is going to respond with me sharing something that I don't like or sharing something that's going to help them out. I used to avoid the uncomfortable conversations until I have reframed my mindset to look at uncomfortable conversations as a way for me to continue to keep pushing. If I don't speak on something, then I'm holding myself back, and I'm not willing to do that anymore. So I would rather have the uncomfortable conversation with you in order for me to keep moving and to detach my emotions from the entire situation so that I can just see it for what it is and let it go. We avoid those conversations and then we hold on to the weight of what we wish we said. That's not fair. Confidence is the receipt of courage. Having the courage to do those things, to take bold steps towards your goals is very much necessary. Every courageous action that you take gives your brain new evidence that you're capable. The third thing that I would do is start acting like the person that I'm becoming. We know this already, right? That is the tone, I feel like, of this season, is acting as the person that you are becoming. Check out my most recent episode, right? And the one before that, I share so many gems on how to already embody the identity of who you are becoming. Because expansion starts before the opportunity arrives. This may look like carrying yourself differently, raising your standards, protecting your time. Don't wait for the opportunity to become her or him before the opportunity arrives. Your identity prepares you for the life that you've been asking for. Now let's shift our mindset. I want you to repeat after me. Being visible is not being arrogant. Yeah, you should share your gifts. So you should own your expertise. You should let go of the people pleasing. And you should start serving others through authenticity. Visibility isn't ego when your intention is impact. Please keep in mind, you do not have to dim your light to make others feel comfortable. The second mindset shift, repeat after me. Expansion requires participation. So if you want to expand, you can't just have faith. You have to also take action. You need to be responsible for yourself. You need to be responsible for your daily habits, your routine, how you're showing up. Be bold enough to take the first step. Stop talking about it and be about it. And have enough courage to leave your comfort zone. Let me tell you something. Your comfort zone is a box. This is your comfort zone. It's a box. The thing about leaving your comfort zone is that it does not dissolve when you leave. It will always be there. So what good is it to never even try to step outside of the box? You don't know what's on the outside because you're so safe here. If you want to grow, you have to move even when it's uncomfortable. Because to be honest with you, your life will never outgrow the version of you that you refuse to outgrow. Now let's get into these relatable scenarios. I like these because these are definitely scenarios I've experienced at least once or twice in my lifetime, and I'm sure some of you are going to be able to relate to them as well. The first relatable scenario is the business owner or entrepreneur who never posts. How many of y'all can relate to that? So you have an amazing product or service, but you're afraid to post because you're scared of people judging you for it. So now you're not even promoting it. Nobody even knows that you have this business or you have this service because you don't share it with anyone. But here's the thing. People cannot support what they don't know exists. The second scenario is the person who stays silent at work. This is for my 9-to-5 workers. You're the person who have these amazing ideas, but you are afraid to share them because you're worried that they'll get rejected. What if they do get rejected? So what? You still have that amazing idea. Maybe it's not for them. Maybe it's something that you should implement. But what if it gets approved? Are you prepared for what is next? I encourage you to speak up because your voice cannot create opportunities if it stays hidden. The third relatable scenario is what I lightly spoke on before, waiting until everything is perfect. Keep delaying the launch. You keep delaying creating content and posting it. You keep delaying the conversation that you need to have, all because you're waiting to feel ready. If you want to stick with being a perfectionist, then you're going to continue to delay your progress. Now get your notepad out because we're about to get into these relatable points. Fear often disguises itself as perfectionism. Self-worth influences how visible you are willing to be. You don't have to be fearless to move forward. Confidence grows through repetition. Playing small protects your comfort but limits your growth. Your purpose deserves your full presence. There is someone out there who may need your story, your gift, or your perspective. Now let's pivot to the questions that I want you to reflect on. Where am I shrinking instead of showing up? What opportunity have I been avoiding because of fear? If I fully believed in myself, what would I do differently this week? Whose approval am I still waiting for? What would taking up space really look like in this season of my life? Am I protecting my comfort more than my calling? So the actionable step that I want you to take this week is to do the thing that fear has been holding you back from. Post the content. Have that uncomfortable conversation, launch that product or that service, and just let your actions reflect the life that you've been asking for. Thank you for hanging out with me today on the Pretty Aligned podcast. I hope that something in this episode gave you a fresh perspective or a new way to see yourself. Remember, small shifts creates big change. If you love today's conversation, share it with a friend who needs it and make sure that you're subscribed so that you don't miss the next reset. Until then, keep aligning, keep growing, and keep becoming the best version of you. I'll see you in the next episode.